Okay, hey guys, so we're going to read about Critical Analysis of Curriculum and Assessments by Ellie, Anna, Corey, and Kendall.
So we did EL education. So the readability for teachers, the readability itself is easy, but it is hard to navigate. I think it provides some valuable content once you get through the hard navigation. The content is very readable from a teacher standpoint. Do you find the text easy to maneuver? This is not very easy to maneuver. It is hard to find what we were looking for. We had trouble to find lesson plans because we didn't have a way to access the information. Is it overwhelming? This is somewhat overwhelming to read and understand. They give you a lot of different information, but it's just hard to find what we were looking for. Two examples from the textbook. The K-5 recommended text and other resources list contain books and other resources that have been selected by our experts to support research or read aloud modules. And here on the side is some different stories in this and the website and the genres. And do you believe the stories were included are appropriate? I do think some of the stories were appropriate in EL education. There are quite a few lessons about many different things that students should learn. There are different modules that cover many different things that students need to know. Why or why not? Like in the picture above, it explains what the book is on. There are many more modules than these stories and gives some students knowledge of different things. In this, it also tells the teacher how many sets they should have in each of the classrooms to teach.
All right, component 2, the quality of the questions on this website. So on the questions that were in these modules, students used background information as the lessons went on, and all the questions were associated with a specific level of blooms as illustrated in the picture below. And everything was meant to build on one another and connect to build the students' knowledge. I think it expands through multiple low and high level questions to evenly distribute the amount of content needed or the amount of brain activity needed to answer a specific question. Questions in these modules tend to provoke discussion, and I could see myself as a teacher using questions like the ones from the modules as think, pair, share questions or even big idea questions. And I do think that the questions provide students with a chance to be critical thinkers. Wow, what an unfinished slide. Anyway, so examples. How do authors use their knowledge and observations to write stories? How do habits of character help us do work? How do we build research skills and share our learning? And what patterns can we observe in the sky? A lot of these questions linked outside subjects, outside of reading and language arts as well, such as science. So not only is it building off of background knowledge, but it is using knowledge covered in other classes to tie it into literacy.
I worked on diversity and representation for component 3. How is this curriculum socioculturally and linguistically responsive in the context in which it is used? This is a quote taken directly from the EL education website that just talks about how they focus on equity for all children. Based on the website, the curriculum was created based on research of students of different cultures and backgrounds. This ensures that the curriculum is diverse and can meet the needs of each student. Can all your students see themselves in the books they read? I took from the Tools and Work module, and all students were reflected in the books in this module. Students of different races and cultures are represented, as well as some books are just about inanimate objects, like the little red pen. Is diversity addressed in this textbook, and how? Here are some of the books from the module. They have all different races and cultures to work with. Who is missing in terms of diversity in the stories or activities? I personally don't believe anything is missing in terms of diversity or activities. The module does a great job of showcasing different cultures, races, and tools for all types of activities, and this is shown in all the books.
Okay, so I did Elements of Literacy, and I pulled from a lesson plan that's called Skills Block Module 1. So choose 3 of these elements and discuss how the curriculum addresses them. This is a quote pulled from the lesson plan, so I'm just going to read it. It says, Cycle 1. In advance of Cycle 1, students must complete their baseline assessments. During the Cycle 1, students begin to build classroom routines while reorientating to kindergarten content, including key print concepts, phonological awareness, phonics, and word analysis, such as letter-sound correspondence, syllables and segmentation and blending of phonemes and spoken words. To establish routines and ensure that students' understanding of reviewed skills, consider extending the whole group instruction, opening and work time as much as necessary. Do you believe the textbook does a good job addressing these components? I think the textbook in this module does a good job addressing these components because they're making the elements a part of the student's daily routine, which is important to make sure that they learn those elements. And then, do the activities and teaching strategies provide line up with what we have learned about effective literacy instruction? So below is a set of cycles 2 through 4, which explains how they incorporate activities and teaching strategies within a lesson based on literacy instruction. So cycle 2 includes 10 lessons, and this is done to slowly introduce a consistent sequence of instructional practices, each of which intentionally builds on the preceding one. Based on the student's mastery of the routines and content during Cycle 2, determine which practices merit the suggested 2 to 3 days of repetition. Cycles 3 through 4 begins the consistent 5-day lesson cycle repeated through the rest of the modules. The bank of taught graphemes and phonemes will begin to gradually increase, providing a larger bank of spelling patterns and new words for instruction and practice. So please support your opinion with ideas from our class lectures or professional readings. I believe this is effective literacy instruction because in class we have discussed introducing new concepts based on prior knowledge. In Cycle 2, it is obviously states that each builds on the preceding lesson, which helps students make connections and understandings. Once the students start to grasp the concept, they begin focusing on 5 of the lessons and start to work on more challenging graphemes and phonemes. We can also compare this to class discussion because once a student has an understanding of a concept, we increase understanding. So examples would be like when we do reading levels, once they grasp a concept, they move up in their reading level. And that's all we have for you guys. Thank you.